This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to Around the World in 80 Minutes, a podcast series based on the book Around the World in 80 Years by Julie Woods, that's me, illustrated by Ron Esplin, that's you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So hello everyone.
In these 8-10 minute podcasts, we are going to cover the 80 countries that artist and adventurer Ron Esplin visited by the time he was 80. Ron, we've reached to decade 5. This is your 5th decade, from 1985 to 1994. You travelled for work with Brian Snell, visiting Asia and America, and you also began studying at Otago University for the second time, doing a Bachelor of Commerce. What is the illustration for this podcast, please?
It's of Aberdeen Harbour in Hong Kong, and features, in fact, the Jumbo restaurant that was there for many years, and a bit of the Chinese life that I enjoyed watching.
In this decade, you visited 9 countries. What are they, please?
Well, they start with Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, China, the Hawaiian Islands, Japan, Indonesia, Greece, and Crete.
I suppose Singapore is the gateway to all of those, or some of those countries. Is that how you headed into Hong Kong and China?
Well, this is partly for pleasure, but certainly for business, that I travelled to all those places because we were dealing with Japanese companies such as Sony, and we were often going to see the factories to see how the goods were made, the computers and so on. So the choices of these places was out of my control, in that that was the reason I was going to visit them. In most cases, occasionally there was a reward given by one of the companies, and we might go somewhere like the Hawaiian Islands, which is what we did, and that was a wonderful. Well, they were always made sure that they were having we were doing work as well, and covering the relationship that we had with those companies.
You visited China in 1986, a time that was, referred to China as the sleeping giant. You went there before it woke up. What was it like?
Well, I'm pleased that I had the opportunity over all these years to visit China on at least 4 occasions. And that first occasion was an eye-opener because China was just awakening, as you say. There was still bamboo scaffolding around all the buildings. It was a bit just emerging from a police state situation. So you would go to the crossroads in the middle of a town, and there would be police making sure that everybody was doing all the right things. They didn't actually work against the public. They were just observing and being there for the sake of the safety. But you could see who was in charge, because if a pedestrian walked across the street or jaywalked, they had a plaque that announced loudly, "Jaywalker," and that it was put round their neck. Now, they had to stay there until someone else jaywalked, and then they were able to actually stop themselves. They could take the plaque off and put it on the next person, and the next person would dutifully stop there until they watched someone else doing the jaywalking. So it was interesting to see that happen. You'd never get away with it in New Zealand.
I was just thinking about
throw the plaque at you.
I was thinking about it happening in Dunedin. You went that same year to Japan. I mean, that must have been quite a contrast.
It was. What a wonderful, peaceful place it is. And I think I've been there about 4 times. And each time you see, there's a difference. They had survived some terrible things during the Second World War, And, of course, it ended really when the Japanese were subdued virtually. Those people, though, they have an economy that's very successful, and the people who live in Japan are so polite. They go out of their way to help you. I've been lost in Japan on several occasions. They're watching out for you. They see you. You look as if you're a little bit lost. Bang! Next minute you've got a lovely Japanese businessman in a suit. Can I help you? Probably trying his English out. But anyway, nonetheless, they'll not only tell you where to go, almost invariably they will take you to that place, make sure you're happily ensconced, and then go on with their day.
Leaders in the electronic industry, of course, in the 80s, so that must have been exciting to be a part of that evolution.
It was, certainly, and they were ahead of the world. Akio Morita and Sony Company Japan, he developed the cassette recorder, or the Walkman as they call it, and he played a bit of golf, and apparently it takes about 90 minutes to have a game of golf, at least, and he had his designers design a tape recorder that he could carry around. The maximum recording was 90 minutes, and is the same length as Bach's Choral Symphony. So he was able to enjoy his golf. The other interesting thing that Akio Morita was not beyond, was thinking laterally. He developed the transistor radio, the portable transistor radio, and the engineers couldn't make it small enough to fit in a pocket, which is what he demanded. Well, not to be thought, all he did was he made sure that some tailors manufactured shirts that all had pockets that were big enough to take the radio. And so they'd go around and sell them and say, look, the radio fits in a pocket.
Oh, we can see where your love of marketing is coming in, which you were studying at the same time. Indonesia was on that list. You went to Bali. I mean, everybody goes to Bali now, but that was the early days of Bali as a destination.
It was the early days. And what took me by surprise was that the Balinese were ready to work wherever it was possible in their own business most of the time. There weren't, there were employers, of course, but many of them just formed their own companies and would take visitors around the island in vans that they'd happened to have, or they'd made sure they could buy, and they're entrepreneurial, but always polite, always pleasant. And they a beautiful country with beautiful people. There were occasions when I was a bit uncertain. We watched cocks fighting on the mountainous part of Bali, and that's illegal, of course. But does that stop them? I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah, but beautiful place.
Impressions of Macau? Portuguese.
Macau was Portuguese. They have a big casino there, and it's even bigger now. But it was a beautiful place to visit between times as we went to China, because this was virtually the gateway to China. The Portuguese influence is very, very evident, and there's a town called Malacca up the coast that has a very Portuguese feel about it.
Well, we've reached the end of podcast 5, Ron. You're listening to Around the World in 80 Minutes with Julie Woods and Ron Esplin. If you'd like to contact Ron Esplin, you can do so by sending an email to ronesplinartist@gmail.com or phoning or texting him on 021 358 082. This was podcast 5. Ron, your country count up until now is 42. It's jumped up. And we look forward to seeing you back here for podcast 6.
Thank you. See you soon.
I'm that blind woman, Julie Woods, proud sponsor of Around the World in 80 Minutes. After going blind in 1997, I said why not so many times. I am now a professional speaker, author, advocate and coach. If you're looking for someone to help you or your team turn your no into why not, then why not send me an email to julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz or phone or call me on 021 913 513. Why not?
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.